Hi, I'm Richard Maraj, Senior Minister at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center, and I want to thank you for visiting our website and for tuning in to today's message. If you feel inspired by today's talk, I really encourage you to make a donation by hitting that button below and making a contribution to this ministry. It'll allow us to continue these messages online and to do the great work we do here at Unity of Phoenix, which is to inspire people to live better lives. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for your support, and we hope to see you at a Sunday real soon.
Morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. I got a couple of one-liners. It really didn't go well this morning. It may not go well right now. But here we go. Blind man walks into a bar. Blind man walks into a bar and a table and a chair. Okay. It's not going to get better, folks. What do you call a nun that sleepwalks? A Roman Catholic. Okay. Here's the big finish. And God said to John, "Come forth, and you will be granted eternal life." But John came fifth and won a toaster. Oh, come on. I know someone's going to tell that at the office tomorrow. I really do. So we are in the third and final week of the book, Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. And we've been looking at the power of desire. We've been looking at it because desire is really a fundamental element and one of the most creative powers and energies in the universe. You know, when you think about it, desire is the foundation of our will to live. It is the foundation of our will to survive. It is the drive and motivation to succeed and to improve our lives. Desire is the reason that we ask and seek and knock. Desire is the reason we hold a vision and have intention. Desire is the reason that we want our lives to get better. Here's what the author John Eldredge said. We are desire. It is the essence of the human soul, the secret of our existence. Absolutely nothing of our human greatness is ever accomplished without it. Not a symphony has been written, a mountain climbed, an injustice fought, or a love sustained apart from desire. Desire is what fuels our search for the life that we prize. Desire is a great thing. What is it in your life that you desire? And as great as desire is, there's an element or aspect of desire that we often overlook and underutilize, and that is our desire to feel good. It is that feeling element of desire that actually magnifies and magnetizes the energy of our desires to attract even greater things. Sometimes we go after the very things that we want, thinking it'll make us feel good. But the truth is, we need to focus on the things we actually want to feel first. That if our intention is first to feel joyful, to feel fulfilled, to feel generous, to feel confident, to feel enthusiastic, that when we connect with the feeling first, it actually has a power of not just feeling good, but a power to attract even greater feelings in our lives. And she said it behooves us to actually be more intentional and pay more attention to what is it do I want to feel? How do you want to feel when you wake up? How do you want to feel when you go to work? How do you want to feel when you spend time with your family? And she said we really need to cultivate and choose the 4 core desired feelings. So if you had to pick 4 feelings you would like to have as the majority of feeling that you feel throughout the day, what would they be? For her, she chose to feel divinely feminine, to feel connected, to feel innovative, and to feel affluent. You could want to feel adventurous, you could want to feel playful, you could want to feel prosperous. Mine are to feel deeply grateful, totally loved, joyful, and inspired. So what are your core feelings that you want to feel? Because when we get anchored in those, they have an amazing power of attracting even greater things into our lives. Last week, we looked at goals and intentions and how important it is for us to actually feel good about what we want. Because sometimes there are things that we want, and we can really be judgmental with ourselves. We can sometimes feel guilty or selfish or greedy for wanting the things that we want. And so it's important that we don't be overly critical or judgmental, and that we allow ourselves to actually feel worthy of the things we want. Because if there's a desire we have and we feel selfish or greedy or ashamed or critical, that's going to actually create resistance in us attracting those things. So it's important to feel good about what you want and to feel worthy about what you want. So today we're going to look at what does it actually take in terms of effort, commitment, energy for us to actually achieve the things that we want, and to look at some of the challenges and obstacles we face on our path that we have to navigate sometimes to fulfill our deepest desires. How many people here ever had a goal that you desired, something you wanted so badly? It was a job, a promotion, a relationship, increased finances, and you wanted it so bad. You found yourself being a little tense and stressed and anxious about it, that you wanted it so bad that you got a little irritated and frustrated when it didn't go as quick as you wanted. Anybody ever feel a little frustrated and irritated about the things that you want? Well, here's an interesting thing. One of the greatest paradoxes of achievement, one of the greatest challenges of manifesting the things we want, is how do you balance our wanting, our yearning, our desire, the work and effort and vision and focus that we put on what we want. And the second aspect is, how do we let it go to the universe? How do we let it go in faith? How do we be detached from the actual outcome? It sounds kind of hard and nonsensical and almost impossible to want what you really want, but not want what you really want too much. To have a thing that you want that that'll make you happier and not be attached to it is not an easy thing. And the funny thing is, both are actually needed for us to truly and easily and joyously manifest the good that we want. We've all heard that phrase, let go and let God. And what it is, it's about, can you balance holding your vision in faith, but also releasing it to God in faith? And sometimes it's that releasing part that we have a little bit of a challenge with. It's like being determined yet relaxed. It's like being driven yet calm. It's like being motivated yet grounded. Both are needed. What phrase she uses is, you got to be fierce but flexible. And there's a little bit of a duality when we try to manifest things from our soul. It's desiring it, but being detached from it. And there's certain spiritual paradoxes that aren't always easy for us to live. Let me give you one of them. Jesus said in Matthew, "Seek ye first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." And what he is saying is, if you want these things, the best way to get these things is actually to seek God first, and then these things will happen. And that's not an easy thing for us. Another one, in Proverbs 11:24, it says, "One man gives freely and gains even more. Another one withholds unduly and only comes to poverty." To me, that's kind of paradoxical. The way you get more is by giving. When you give, you get more. But when you hold on to what you have, you find that you lose it and come to poverty. So how do we balance the paradox of desire detachment? And how do we use that to manifest the things that we want? And there are three things we're going to look at. And the first one is work. How many people ever wanted something that you wanted to become or achieve, and then you started out with it, and it was so much harder than you thought, took so much time, so much effort, that you just gave up on it? Anybody ever have one of those? Okay, 5 of us, good. So, and so when I was about 15 or 16, my friends had some boxing gloves, and we started boxing a little bit, and we ended up having this little boxing tournament. There were about 8 of us, and somehow I ended up winning. All my friends could have beaten me up in a normal fight, but boxing, you can be clever and quick, and somehow I ended up winning. And so I thought, hey, let me become a boxer. And so I went to the York Street Boxing Club, never been to one before. And then so they started, and they skipped rope for it felt like an hour, but it was probably only like a half hour or 40 minutes. And then we had to do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups. We had to throw this medicine ball back and forth. We had to run sideways, crisscrossing our legs over and over. There were all kinds of things. I was so exhausted. After about an hour and 15 minutes, I said, okay, we're ready to start the Practice now. I'm thinking, now? I'm like bent over, sucking air, and I'm thinking, I'm in the wrong place. I think I made a mistake. This is not what I was thinking it would be. And I never boxed again because it was hard. It was hard. Sometimes our best ascensions, even when we have desires and we're clear and we know our feeling, sometimes the work's too hard, and that is, we discover that's not what we want. Or we discover that's not the thing that I want to do. I don't want to work that hard. You know, we all want things easy, and if everything was easy, you know, we'd do all kinds of stuff. If everything was easy, I'd be a boxer today. So this is good. I think when we get hard work and things are harder than we think, that's a good thing for us. Because it gets clear, are you really committed to this? Is this what you really desire? And sometimes in the process and journey of becoming anything, there are bumps and challenges and obstacles you got to face. And sometimes it's good to know through hard work and for things being challenging how well you handled being disappointed and deflated and defeated. Because that lets you know how much you really want these things or not. You know, hard work is a good and important thing. It tests our faith. It tests our desire. It tests our commitment and who we are and what we really want and what we want to become. There isn't anything I know that you achieve and can create or experience that doesn't take some hard work and effort. And I think that's a valuable and important thing to know. How many people have seen Jerry Seinfeld's HBO thing, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? Anybody? So he drives, he gets a car, and he picks up like Ellen DeGeneres or Dave Chappelle or whoever it is. The thing I love is when they talk, none of them are saying, hey, it's so good to have millions of dollars, so good to be famous. They go back to, hey, remember the first joke you wrote? And you remember when it didn't work and how you had to workshop it? And they talk about all their experiences of becoming, the things that were hard, the things that were difficult. Why? Because when you get older, they mean more to you. When you get older, you see the value of them and why they were in your life. And it gives you an appreciation for where you are now by having gone through those difficult things. Hard work is important and necessary, and we're biologically built to go through these things. There's something called the biology of change. Like you ever started some positive path to change? Could have been an exercise program or a class or something, or learning about something, and things are going good. You're good. You're smoking through it. You can't believe how successful you are. It's so easy. You're thinking, oh, I should have done this a long time ago. Things are going great. And the reason you feel so good is, you know what happens? When you try something new and positive, your brain rewards you with neurotransmitters, you know, serotonin and other endorphins and dopamine. And it's the brain's version of giving you a high five. Hey, you're making your life better? This is fabulous. Let me just give you some feel-good stuff. And you're great. You're going for 5-6 days. And then nature does a necessary but cruel act of reducing those endorphins back to the normal level. And that's when you lay on the couch and think, do I really want to go to the gym? Why don't I just put on gym clothes and pretend and feel good that at least I attempted and thought about going to the gym? And so what happens, it gets harder and harder with your endorphin levels back to normal. And it starts to feel like a drag, even a punishment, and you think, no way, this is not what I'm doing. But here's the thing, that resistance that we have is actually a good sign. It is a test of the threshold to say, how much do I really want this? Because what we're changing here is we're shifting our consciousness. We're developing a new mindset, new thought patterns, new behaviors. We're showing up in a new way that is new for us. We're breaking away from the old to enter the new. We're dying to the past to be born to some new, greater possibility of the quality of our lives. And it is that perseverance. It is that breaking through that inertia and that wall that we've put up to say, I've not been that successful before, and it stretches us, that is something we should celebrate. You know, he says it takes about 16 days of doing a new thing before it becomes a habit. The fact is, if you want to achieve anything of any desire and feel whatever levels of greatness, that's great, you can have it, but it takes work. And we need to look at how committed we are inside and how much of that process we're willing to go with and actually even enjoy. You know, we all love the easy way out. We all love the easy way. But the truth is, hard work is a great gift and blessing that brings up more of ourselves, shapes us, and creates greater things than we can even imagine. Somebody once said, timing, perseverance, and 10 years of hard work will eventually help you become an overnight success. You know, we all want it fast. We all want it easy. But the fact is, hard work is a gift, and it depends on how we approach it and use it. Second one is trust. Trust. Trust is an important thing of balancing desire and detachment. And so how many people say you trust God with your life? How many people believe that God has a plan and purpose for your life and that you have all you need to achieve it? Okay, many hands went up. And yet, how many of us worry and have anxiety and doubts about, will this be good enough? Am I good enough? Is this going to work? Suppose I fail. Suppose I look foolish. You know, things aren't going my way. You know, this person I think is out to get me. They're trying to undermine my success. Sometimes we obsess. Sometimes we overthink. And yet we say we trust. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being totally trusting that the universe is supporting you, God is supporting you. How many people say you have a little room to increase the level of trust you live with in all areas of your life? You know, my Proverbs 3:5 says this, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths. And could you imagine waking up every day and feeling total trust that you are loved and supported by God? Waking up every day and no matter what you're doing, absolutely knowing that all that you need, you will be guided and provided for to be successful. That even when things don't go well, it is a sign that the universe is supporting you to move you in a different direction to teach you something you need for your ultimate level of happiness. How wonderful would it be that we trusted every month knowing that all things are working together for our highest good? That trusting and knowing that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Trusting and knowing that the light of God surrounds us. Trusting and knowing it is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. There are two elements of that powerful scripture. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. That can you trust God with everything in your life, from your health, your relationship, your finances, any legal issues? Can you in all ways acknowledge him? That's what back to that line, seek ye first, and all these things will be added unto you. Because the more we seek and connect with God, you know what? The more we feel safe, the more we feel connected, the more we feel supported, and the easier we can relax and trust and allow Spirit to guide us. And the second part of that is to lean not to our own understanding. Sometimes we like to live in the my will be done type mindset. You know, my way or the highway, or I know the best way. Anybody a control freak? Anybody ever, or maybe I should say, how many people know a control freak? We all know one. And so sometimes it's that letting go part. So that phase is trust God with all your heart and acknowledge God in all things. But it also says, lean not to your own understanding. And this is where you do your very best and surrender it. This is where you do your very best and release it to Spirit. And that's the harder aspect of it for most of us. The fact is, life is working in your favor at all times if you relax and open yourself to that truth. It is our fear and resistance that sometimes causes us more pain. So we think the world is conspiring against us. The world is actually conspiring for you and your happiness. But sometimes we miss it. So what I say with trust is you need to practice trust and realize how much we already trust. Right now, you're trusting, and you don't even realize it. You know what the number one thing you're trusting right now? You are trusting that that chair you're sitting on ain't going to collapse. That's trust. You know, you are being supported in so many amazing ways. This microphone is supporting you in being able to hear. These lights and electricity are supporting you in being able to see. This music team and Greta is supporting you in enjoying this experience. You are supported in more ways than you realize. There's so much to trust. You're trusting right now without knowing it that there will be enough air for your next breath and your next one and your next one. There's all kinds of things you're trusting right now, but we're not always aware of our trust. Anybody ever been through a divorce or through a bankruptcy or through just a painful time in your life? Okay, a couple of us. And we got through it. And the question, can you trust the same Spirit that got you through that to get you through this? The trust is there. There's all the evidence and reason to trust. Other things, we trust that tomorrow morning the sun will rise. We trust that when we get home that our dog's tail will wag and they'll greet us at the door, don't we? We trust that if we take 2 aspirins, 20 minutes later, that headache will be gone. We trust that every Sunday there will be church. I trust that my cappuccino machine will froth that milk in exactly the way that I love. I have never had anxiety or worry about my cappuccino machine. I just want to let you know. We trust in ways we don't even realize. The question is, how consciously are we focusing that trust? How much are we increasing that trust, particularly to God's Spirit? Because God has brought us through all kinds of things. Right at this moment, there are all things that are supporting us. And every day of our lives, there is so much beauty and goodness around us. We should feel totally trusting of how supported we are. I trust that God loves me. Together, I trust that God loves me. I trust that all things are working for my highest good. Together, I trust that all things are working to get my highest good. I trust that I live in a friendly, responsive, abundant universe. Together, I trust that I live in a friendly, responsive, abundant universe. I trust that my life has a plan and purpose. Together, I trust that my life has a plan and purpose. And that plan is good and only good. Together, and that plan is good and only good. I trust that I am fully supported by God. Together, I trust that I am fully supported by God. Deep breath. And can you just trust that truth? Now, on the drive home, this evening, when you eat, when you wake up, when you go to work, at every moment, within you and all around you, is all the love and guidance and wisdom support. Can you relax into it and just trust it? Because it brings peace. We don't have to waste energy on anxiety and worry. We can actually channel that to be more present, to feel more deeply, and to connect with our desire in greater ways. And the final thing we're going to talk about is the power and the importance of sincerity. We don't often think about sincerity, but sincerity is a powerful element of creativity. They don't mention the word sincerity in the Bible a lot, but here's how they mention it. And that is, trust God with all your heart. Seek God with all your heart. Love God with all your heart. Sometimes in life, we don't do things with all of our hearts. But the energy of sincerity coupled with desire can really increase the level of fulfillment we feel in the moment, as well as attracting and creating the things that we want. And so when we desire something, it's important to declare it with sincerity. It says, declare a thing and it'll be established for you. So to call forth our good by declaring it with sincerity, to even say, I want this thing to work out with all my heart. I want a healing to happen in my family, and I want it with all my heart. I want to feel better than I'm feeling right now, and I want that with all my heart. I mean, we can come up with anything. I want to be successful, and I want like it with all my heart. There is something about joining desire with sincerity. That when you have a desire, declare it with sincerity. The next one is to align yourself in that consciousness with sincerity. Like whatever you want to become, you must first become it in consciousness. So if you want to be more prosperous, what's that consciousness? And to achieve that consciousness with sincerity. If you want to be a great leader, a great parent, a great teacher, whatever it is, you must align yourself with that consciousness and align with that consciousness with sincerity, with a pure intention and a desire. Not for outer payoffs, but for the inner feeling and connection of that level of fulfillment. I'll tell you some of the most pure lines, and tell me if you don't feel some desire and sincerity matched together. St. Francis said, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Does that not feel like it is desire connected with a pure sincerity? The Dalai Lama, when he talks about compassion for all living things, and that will bring you happiness. You feel the sincerity, particularly knowing that his people have been tortured and mistreated. Paramahansa Yogananda had a sincere desire to spread the word across the world, to the Western world, and to deepen his own prayer consciousness and Christ consciousness. And so my question for you is, what is the depth of desire that you can connect with? And what is the depth of the sincerity of that particular desire? Another important thing that we need to infuse with sincerity is the process. Because again, the process isn't always easy. And when you're struggling, to just sincerely say, I'm struggling, but I know I'm in a transformational process. I'm not feeling my best right now, but I'm going through a process of change that will make me and my life better and better. Like she said, be fierce and flexible, because people who are flexible never get bent out of shape. And so don't berate yourself, don't beat up yourself or judge yourself. Just make the changes and keep moving forward. Keep sincerely moving forward. And the last one is be sincere about the truth of who you are. Because when we declare with trust and when we align with sincerity, it helps us know the truth of who we are, the truth of who we came here to be, and the truth of what we came here to do. She wrote a line, and I really like it, and she said, if you don't believe that you have a right to be here, there will never be enough space for your true self to show up. And the flip of that is that believe and trust you have the right to be here. And believe and trust and give yourself the space to let your true self show up. To show up for yourself, to show up in your relationship, to show up in your work, to show up in all that you do. You know what the thing I think about desire is? I think desire is meant to help us expand and know our fullness. I think desire is there to help us to connect with and express our wholeness as well as our fullness. Because we are whole, complete, and lacking in nothing. And desire helps us bring forth the great in us and helps us remember the truth that we sometimes forget about our own selves, of how bright and brilliant and great we are and how much good we came here to do. Desire is a powerful thing that'll lift our lives. It's available to all of us. The deepest feelings of joy and goodness are available to us. However, it does take work, trust, and sincerity. God bless you all.